Morbidly Beautiful presents a horror interview podcast hosted by Brody Hubbard. You have entered the chamber.
The following contains spoilers for Terror at Bigfoot Pond. Take the premise of Blair Witch Project, updated for the vlogging and YouTube generation. Add some Gen Z youth that party so hard it makes Camp Crystal Lake blush. Add a pond that represents the disappointment of the new generation as they pursue survival in the death throes of capitalism. Or maybe it was just small because that's the area that the filmmakers could afford to shoot at. And subvert expectations of the final girl trope by making the lone survivor the one character you didn't see coming. It helps that you cast a very charming actress named Emerald Fowler. And you've got David Rimaldi's Terror at Bigfoot Pond. So grab a refreshment from the cooler, sit back, and watch this interview with Kelly from the movie Emerald Fowler. How are you doing today, Emerald?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm coming to you from Queen Creek, Arizona, which is beneath the Superstition Mountains here. So I would imagine that it's warm here as it is there in New Mexico.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty warm out here.
Yeah. Did you grow up in New Mexico?
No, I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and then I was raised in Dallas. So I didn't get to New Mexico till I was adult, like 18, and I left for a little bit, and I came back at 22.
Okay. And obviously, the Albuquerque area has great filming opportunities there. I know also one of the projects you had been on was the revival of the Roswell series. Is that correct?
Yep. I was on episode 1, season 4.
Okay. Where was that filmed?
That was filmed in, what was that? That was filmed in Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Okay. So, presumably, well, I shouldn't presume. What brought you out there as far as at what point did your path kind of hit towards acting and where did it send you? Is that what sent you out further west?
Yes, well, I initially moved out to New Mexico with my mother for a little bit. And so I first got into cosmetology school, but I had a little modeling background by that moment. And so I think my mother was in the background. So I was like, okay, I want to try doing the background role too. So I got in there, I did one. And I got into groups on Facebook, like to see what casting calls they'll have up or things like that. So I saw one for the Terror at Bigfoot Pond. And so I went to that one. And then it was up from there after Terror at Bigfoot Pond. That's when I started getting into more acting, was referred to an agent, booking more commercials. And now I'm into just straight modeling, acting, and now writing books.
Oh, great. We'll definitely have to talk about that as far
Yes.
as goes. Did you, so was it around then that you were a few years back as far as the modeling and acting, things like that occurred as something you could do, or had you at all, like as a kid, had the acting bug?
Yes. As a kid, I always did like different skits or what I would say, make believe and role play and do things like that. So I always was into that. I didn't know it was going to be my big career. I really just did it for fun. So when I started doing it as a career, it was very surprising to me. Not surprising that it wasn't in me, but surprising that I was actually doing it finally.
Wonderful. And you've obviously done some genre stuff with Roswell, with Bigfoot Pond. How much of that did you enjoy as a kid growing up? I mean, were there favorite horror movies or even just sci-fi stuff that you really clung to?
Absolutely. I definitely was into sci-fi. I liked like thriller films like Insidious and stuff like that. I don't know if this was considered horror. My favorite show Supernatural. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a fan of that. Still, I still am. I could probably watch season one to all the seasons every day if I could.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, I was definitely into that.
Okay. Yeah, Supernatural has a big fandom. Um, how much of the kind of horror conventions or sci-fi conventions or just kind of fan stuff have you had a chance to go out and visit, whether in your capacity as a performer or just as a fan?
I never went to one. I did since definitely in the supernatural. I always wanted to go to that type of convention, or if they were there. I really don't know how that go, but so far I haven't been able to go to any.
Okay. Um, let's talk a little bit about this first project that you got into, and it's what caught my attention. And I want to tell you how. So I part of a horror community here, and talking about uh, movies, TV shows, things like that. So this is a Terror at Bigfoot Pond was David Rimbaldi production, wrote and directed,
Right.
and available on different streaming services, available on Tubi. So a couple folks had seen it. This is a very unusual movie. And that's an understatement. We're going to talk about some of the reasons what makes it stand out. First, I want to know though how you became attached to the project, because it's a diverse cast. It's a even the beginning of the movie, you're not necessarily obvious as the lead, but you are the final girl. I mean, that's in horror trope lexicon, like
Right.
you are the final girl. So
Right.
tell me about how much you knew going in, and kind of what some of those initial conversations were with David.
Yeah, so when I went to audition, he had like all the scripts set out. So I saw like in the Facebook group the description of the different characters. So I already knew. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go audition for Kelly. So when I went into my audition, David Rimbaldi kind of gave me a rundown of what my character would be if I were to get that role. So I think he did say I was the survivor, if that was already the plan. So I did my audition, and after I was told I got it, we I think we sat in for about 2 table reads, and then we were sent the script. So I was able to kind of get into character, see the mindset of that character and how I should, mix it into my own, little way. So throughout the table reads, I started to learn more about my character as well. Like, okay, this is how she interacts with her friends. This is what he expects me to do. This is the type of mindset I'm supposed to have, or the personality traits that he requires from this character. So on from there, we got on set. It's like in the mountains, and although it looks pretty warm on camera, it looks pretty cold because it was, I think, like mid-September. But meeting everybody face to face, it kind of gave me a more comfortable feel on, knowing people outside the project and in the project. So that's really how I got, fully immersed into the character, just looking at the script. I even asked David a couple questions on, okay, so in this scene, what was your vision for this scene? So I know to, accomplish it from all areas.
The other folks in the cast, did they all kind of come to the project the same way? Did any of you all know each other already? Work together on any other sort of projects? How are those conversations to start out with, and working with each other, filling in whatever backstory that kind of David had asked you to fill in on your own as actors?
Right. No, I'm not sure if they knew each other or some people knew each other, but personally, I didn't know anybody. And from my knowledge, we didn't really know each other. So the table reads, when we first met each other for the very first time. So we weren't really unfamiliar with each other until the table reads and then meeting each other in person. So it was all kind of new to us. Of course, we was able to, have our little conversations between then and have like simple conversations and talk about the script. But that was about it. We were pretty new to one another.
So the movie starts out with the two characters who are kind of introducing this premise that it's a vlog, it's maybe a YouTube series,
and we have the credits over kind of this travel footage as they drive, and some commentary has been made about, wow, that's a really long sequence. Like it takes us 8 minutes to get to the camp and to everybody else. What was your feeling when you first kind of saw the final product and it was cut that way, and like I said, it's not evident right away. You think it's going to be the story of this couple and their blog, and that just turns out to be kind of the premise to get us to the camp and events start happening. What was your thoughts on that, and then that scene where you all are meeting and talking for the first time?
I think from what I've seen, I think David Rambati has a very unique way of putting it all together. Overall, I mean, based off all the horror movies I have seen, I was like, okay, I can see where he was getting at, what he was doing throughout. And personally, I feel like David Rambati is a great story creator, especially working with him in person and seeing how he goes about things and how he sets things up. He's a very creative person.
It's we wait a little bit, and this is true, like you said, a lot of horror movies, especially if you throw back to some of the older movies, the 80s, movies,
Right.
Not just Friday the 13th, but I mean, there's plenty of movies where a group of young folks get together and
Right.
drink, get high, get intimate with each other, and then
Right.
then
There you go.
then comes in death.
Right.
So we have that here. We have the scene where I guess there's like skinny dipping and dancing and stuff, and we're still kind of setting up the creepier aspect of there's something there, even if the characters don't know yet. As an audience, we know that there's something there.
Right.
How was that scene to shoot, as far as was that already in the script? Was it impromptu, as far as, hey, let's do kind of a party scene? How much direction was there for that party scene?
Yeah, there was a good amount of direction. We already knew in the script what was expected of us. We already knew that the film we would have to be nude in some scenes, and how he put it in the script, it was basically, okay, here's the next scene, and in this scene you will be in the pond, topless, and we were to choose, like, if you wanted to keep your underwear on or take it off. So some kept some on, some kept some off. So we had a good amount of direction. Usually David Rambati kind of wanted to go towards like more like improv and stuff. Like, he was like, do what is natural to you. So, I mean, of course, go by the script, but you can add a little stuff in, add a little extra conversation in to kind of keep it natural. So that was the direction he was going in.
For your character, and you mentioned that you and David had conversations about adding more of your personality, maybe even your backstory, like your own personal history to Kelly. What did you bring to that role?
What I brought to the role was, let me think this. I felt with myself, I brought like what I felt was more courage, even though that was a courageous character anyway, but more like stay strong and keep going type of thing is what I put in my head. Like, okay, what would I do in this situation if I was, in the mountain and people were getting killed? What would I do? So some reactions were me, or some, cuss words in the moments was me. Like, what's a real reaction somebody would have if you're trying to, fight for your life in these woods? You don't even know where you're at. So that's kind of what I brought into my character.
We see folks kind of split up into couples. We start to see the monster, the Bigfoot, creeping around and closer to the camp, and that's when like the killings start happening. I want to talk a little bit about kind of the tone of this. while the actors, the characters are definitely playing it straight, playing it fearful, there are some kind of, I don't want to say silly, but I mean funny moments with the monster. I'm thinking about the monster digging through a pool. I'm thinking about the subterfuge with the bandana.
Right.
Kelly?
Kelly.
Kelly?
Kelly.
Kelly?
Kelly.
Kelly?
Kelly, it's us. Kelly.
And they're like, is that one of our friends? And then the monster turns around and is wearing the bandana.
Yeah.
How much of that was, I mean, what was kind of your feeling or the other actors' feelings about that tone? Was this, how intentional was it? Like, what kind of vibe are we going for as far as that kind of humorous aspect of it?
Right. I'm not sure if David Rimbody already planned that, but my personal reaction, I was sitting on the side watching it, and I'm like, is he putting the bandana on? And I thought it was funny. I know a lot of us busted out laughing, so I'm like, okay, I guess you're trying to be funny in this scene. So I personally thought it was funny. I said, what a funny twist to do. I wasn't sure if he already had that in his head, but I was surprised.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah. And so that's what kind of makes, one of the things I think that makes the film. So I had recently said online that I appreciate this movie for its eccentricity and its audaciousness, because there is, it's a found footage movie.
Right.
But it's also, but I mean, at one point we're seeing the point of view of everything from the Bigfoot. A Bigfoot puts on one of the cameras.
Right.
This is an odd movie, and it's gotten a very mixed reaction online. There's people who are just like, hey, this is like, I don't get it. It's all on video. I can't, there's some parts I can't even see in the dark. And then there's other people who are like, this is a perfect midnight movie. This is like something to gather with your friends and watch, and just, there's so many unusual moments. What was you and the cast reaction as far as the first time you all screened it together? Was there kind of a watch party? Like, how did you all get to see everything when it was all done, and what was your initial reaction?
I think when we were, or when David Rimbody was planning a screen party, that's when COVID hit, so we weren't able to, watch it together. So from what I'm assuming, we probably all watched it at separate times. I think did we get? Oh, I think before it came out, if I'm not mistaken, we got it sent to us to watch ourselves. So we all, I guess, watched it separately and then had our little commentary about it. And usually that was through email, or someone would say, hey, yeah, I watched the film. It was kind of like very simple like that.
What was the reaction to the folks who in your life who knew you? And I would imagine you didn't spoil it for them as far as making it all the way to the end.
Right.
So what was kind of that reaction when they see that the movie ends up centering around you, really?
With my family, I didn't tell them. I was just like, hey, I was in the movie. That was it. So, only person I gave warning to was like my grandparents and stuff. I'm like, hey, okay, if you want to watch it, just know it's scenes where I'm nude. So brace yourself. Welcome to actress Emerald. So that's what you're gonna see if you watch it. So, that was about it. So mostly, with my family, I didn't know when they watched it. I used to like get text messages and say, hey, I watched the movie. Hey, like right when it released and stuff like that. So I just waited till others chose to watch it. And then if they text me, say, hey, I seen it, I'll be like, all right, yeah, you did.
I want to talk about, again, looking at kind of horror tropes, and there's a lot today made about, so that you have movies like Prey and They Slash Them that are kind of re-examining the role of marginalized folks in movies. So I have to be honest, this is the first horror movie I can think of in a while where a Black character not only isn't one of the first killed, but actually makes it all the way to the end, is the final girl. And
Right.
I don't know that there's a whole lot of Black women who are final girls in the genre.
Right.
How did you feel about that? How conscious were you of that trope? Um, and did it mean a lot to you as far as being the one, not only to survive, but again, be the character that usually, unfortunately, a film will pick off right away from the beginning.
Right. Yes. To me, that was a big deal because based off, and I did a little research on it too. I'm like, wow, usually, and from what I've seen too, usually a Black character will be killed off first or something. So, for me to be a Black woman, that was really big to me. And I was like, oh wow, I found, it was a movie that had that in it, and then it was me. And I seen a lot of commentary sometimes because some people on Facebook will say something. And they're like, oh yeah, the Black woman I seen, not that that's real, but they'll say like, first Black woman they seen that survived in the movie. Of course, I'm sure there was some before me, but that's just, with them being funny and saying things like that. So I get a little laugh out of that too. I thought it was pretty unique, and that was a big deal for me.
Your fight scene. What was your perspective of the character at that point? Because for me, I see Kelly. Well, actually, let me take a step back. These are kind of some of the conversations, some of the partying and stuff. It's not that the kids are like dumber than any other kids that we see in films, but like they're as silly and dumb as characters who all get stalked and killed off are supposed to be in a movie. The youth comes to camp.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not great at this, but I'm gonna try. Let's see.
Hey.
Yeah, man, that sounds good. All right, where is it?
Kelly all of a sudden is busting out like astronomy and.
All right, remember your astronomy girl. That is the Big Dipper over there. Draw a line to the two outermost stars and the cup, which will take me to polarity.
Tell me more about that, because it comes out of nowhere, because we just saw the parting, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, actually Kelly is secretly a genius and is going to survive this abomination of nature, this Bigfoot, through science and skills. Like, tell me more about that.
That was my favorite scene, because when I was reviewing the script, I was like, okay, Kelly's not dumb. I'm like, okay, she's coming with something, because that script even taught me something about astronomy. So I like that scene kind of was giving a backstory about Kelly, because I know throughout it was mostly conversations with the friends and just partying and things like that. So I like in that scene that it was giving more of a backstory of Kelly, or giving, people more of an idea, like, okay, which this is where she possibly may come from. And, that was definitely one of my favorite scenes. And I like how the character came together of being courageous. Like, she will fight, she will get herself out this situation. So it gives people more of an idea on what type of character she was.
And when we do get to that last fight, Kelly looks so not resigned at all, not like I've given up, but just so like this is the last of the energy I have left. I'm exhausted. I've been scared all night. The sun's about to rise. The monster's right in front of me. The Bigfoot's right in front of me, and I'm putting everything I have left, just like stabbing this thing to either death or to drive it off. Is that how you played it? And is that kind of the conversation between you and the gentleman who played the Bigfoot? What was kind of the, for lack of a better term, fight choreography for that?
Well, in that scene, we were really filming all night. So we started filming like about, I think 8 or 9 at night. And I was like on and off the camera all night until that time. So it wasn't really no rest in between it. And it was pretty cold in the mountains. So I was really kind of tired. Like, my feet was kind of hurting, my hands were cold. And I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I've been up all night. So that was pretty real. And we had a lot of direction in that scene because David Rambaldi was like, all right, so in the fight scene, make your weapon go this way, make your weapon go that way. And they were telling Bigfoot, move this way, move that way. So we had a lot of direction in that scene as well. But as far as the fatigue, yeah, that was me.
Does Kelly kill the Bigfoot? Does Kelly just drive it off? Or is it purposely left ambiguous in case we do a return to Bigfoot Pond? Like, what was your feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure with that. I'm not really sure what what David wants to do with that. From my knowledge, we didn't really talk about it. It was kind of like we was wrapping up the scenes. So I'm not sure if, that scene was left kind of, untold because it may be something else, based off, I guess it's whatever David wants to do with it or after it.
Gotcha. Kelly gets picked up by a passerby in her truck, very much like the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And how did that feeling? And then I also did notice kind of the parallel between the beginning of the movie with the travel footage and like, we're going to the camp, and then the end of this movie, it's like the world is ended, everybody's dead, like, or
right,
or your world is. I mean, what kind of trauma do you feel? Is there more trauma than joy about survival from that? Like, Kelly seems pretty defeated in some ways.
Right.
I mean, is she just in mourning? Like, how did you read that last scene?
What I felt was, I think that was Kelly's part to let everything out, because throughout the movie, she didn't really, get emotional. She was more in survival mode. And to me, in my opinion, Kelly was more say shocked. I mean, especially losing all your friends. Maybe it's like, oh my gosh, this really just happened. And even furthermore, like, what am I going to do, or what am I going to say? And, I think she was more like a shock and letting everything out, since it wasn't let out throughout the movie.
Gotcha. So obviously this movie, like I said, for all the reasons I've mentioned, I think is more than meets the eye. And it, like you said, we said very unusual as far as the found footage aspect of it, or of how it was shot, the GoPros, things like that. Having done it, having it kind of spread now here on the internet, being commented on blogs and things like that, how has it been for you as a calling card? How has it been for you as far as your interest in even in being cast in further horror, or are you looking to kind of, go across all genres? What's your kind of next steps, your next path, maybe some roles you already have on the horizon?
Yes, it does make me want to go across all genres and be, more of a diverse actress. I had fun doing that. And so I feel that kind of opened the door to be open to everything. I want to have my hands in everything, with coming out with the book and just doing different commercials and things like that now. I would like to just have my hand in every pot, just to say, okay, I've done this genre already. Let's see how this one goes. I kind of want to, just try everything, even voiceover one day. I would like to do that as well.
Absolutely. Tell me about the book.
As the book I wrote, it's an urban novel, and it's on. I have published it on Ingram Spark, and it's on Amazon through ebook. And it's not in the horror genre. It's an urban novel, fiction, young adult fiction. So I think viewers are really gonna like it. And if that goes well, I would like to, start creating more books just to, have that under my talents as well.
Awesome. What's this one called?
It's called DECEIT by Symone. That's my author name.
Gotcha. Oh, Symone. I see it here. Okay, wonderful. What do you have coming up as far as anything that we haven't seen yet that you'll be in, or that you're planning on appearing in soon?
I kind of been on the standstill soon about, especially with writing the books and things like that. But so far I just have a couple photo shoots coming up, and that's what I've been mostly doing. And that's about it. I don't have really any new projects coming up so far, but kind of this industry that changes, get an audition, book it, then that'll be, your new project. But mostly what I've been doing in the summer is writing and trying to publish the book and doing photo shoots.
Okay, wonderful. And are you open to that idea of as this movie inevitably becomes more of a cult favorite? Are you open to that idea of going out and meeting the fans of it, the horror conventions and things like that? And
Absolutely. I think that would be a fun thing. I absolutely would. I think, yeah, I would really love that. I'm definitely open to things like that. I, love getting out there and meeting new people and hearing what people have to say. So yeah, I think I would find that very fun.
That's awesome. Where's the best place online for folks to find you, keep track of your projects? Do you have any sort of web presence that is for fans of your work?
As of right now, I am getting that up and going. As of right now, I just have my Instagram and Facebook, but that's just, that's my personal one. And I'll post a couple of new things, or when projects come out, I will post that. And that's where people could get it right now. Emerald Fowler on Facebook and Sunkissed on Instagram.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, from my platform, I'll if you'd like share those links and see if people come to that. Last question. I want to refer to my favorite scene and hear how you have applied it to your life and your philosophy. I'm tired, but I can't stop. Okay, you can do this. Like I feel like this is a battle cry of Kelly, but it is
right.
a battle cry for life.
I'm so tired, but I can't stop. Okay, you can do this, girl.
I posted it completely sincerely, but I think it makes a good meme because it's like true of how exhausted we all are right now.
Right.
In the pandemic, in just the uncertainty of the world. How have you applied that to your life, your goals, your careers? I know it's quite a lofty question for a quote out of context of the film, but I would love to hear your inspiration.
I think that relates definitely to my life as well, because in the entertainment industry, sometimes you get a lot of no's and very, a couple of yeses, but the yeses is what matters. So there's times where I've been tired and like, okay, maybe is this for me? What should I do? Should I change my career? What's next? And I just keep going, and that's what I've been learning a lot. Like I said, you get a lot of no's and a couple of yeses, but if you keep going, it gets better and better. And then, you'll get your payback later on down the line, and it's worth it.
Wonderful. That's awesome. The book is DECEIT. It's on Amazon and Ingram Spark.
Yes.
We're Emerald Fowler at Facebook and Sunkissed at Instagram.
Yes.
We'll keep an eye out for that web presence as that develops. The movie is Terror at Bigfoot Pond, available on Tubi. I think in its entirety on YouTube as well, and some other streaming services.
Yes.
We can see you in Roswell, the revival of Roswell, season 4, episode 1.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And this is Emerald Fowler, Kelly from the movie, and the first of many roles to come. So thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you so much for having me on here.
Cool.